Okay, this is April 2nd, Sunday, and we are in BBA section B. And in the previous classes, we studied Plato's dialogue, Allegory of the Cave, where the issue was human nature. And the question was, can human beings know the reality or truth? The question was also, what is reality or what is truth? And Plato said that reality is ideal. It is not material. So, the ideal reality can be known only through reasoning and wisdom and the use of intellect, whereas material reality can be known through senses. To explain this idea, Plato used the concept of the allegory. Right? He used the concept of the allegory where he made an analogy of comparison. In an analogy, you have set of objects, and these objects stand for concepts or ideas. Right? So you will see, surprisingly you will find that Plato says that objects are unreal. But Plato takes help of these objects to talk about concepts. Plato cannot talk about ideas without material. Do you see? For example, Plato talks about the cave. He talks about the prisoners. He writes about the shadows on the wall. He writes about the chains that tie their necks to the knees. He talks about the raised pathway behind the prisoner. He talks about the people walking down this pathway. He talks about the various objects being carried by these people. He talks about the fire raised behind the prisoners. Then he talks about the upward climb by one of the prisoners. Then he talks about the door of the cave. Then he talks about the outside world. Then he talks about the lake. He talks about the reflection in the lake. He talks about the trees. He talks about the objects in nature. He talks about the objects in nature. Then he talks about the moon. He talks about the stars. He talks about the skies. He talks about the space. He talks about the night sky with the stars. And finally, he talks about the sun. So do you see, Plato talks about all these material things. All these things are material. And the only way to know about these things is sensory perception. You see the sun with the eyes. Look, pay attention. All these things are material. And they can be known only through senses. Right? So, at the bottom, we have the concept of the shadow or opinion. And at the top, we have the concept of truth, right? Oh, and the sun and shadow. So do you see, the sun causes the shadow. And Plato says that shadows are unreal, false. The truth is the cause, not the effect. The effect is not the truth. The cause is the truth. That's his argument. But if effect is not truth, how come there is effect? If you think critically, you may question what Plato says. For example, Plato says that reality is ideal, not material. Okay, if reality is ideal and not material, why does Plato take help of all these material objects to make us understand the idea? Plato cannot make us understand the idea without the material. And all these things now, do you see in the allegory? All these things, objects, the objects, set of objects, they stand for concepts, idea or idea. For example, cave stands for the idea of this world, physical world. Prisoners stand for the people in the society, us. Shadows, they stand for falsity, illusion, unreality. Look, in an allegory, there are objects that stand for concepts. Then chains, they stand for ignorance or false education. False education. Railed pathway through which people walk, it can refer to media. People walking, society. Objects being carried by them, it may refer to object itself. Or higher reality. They may stand for higher reality. Fire may stand for being or higher reality, because the fire causes the shadow. Upward climb may refer to education. It may refer to enlightenment. Door of the cave, it may refer to transition in life. Before the door there is darkness, outside the door there is light, transition. Before the door you are prisoner, chained in ignorance. Outside the door you are a philosopher, you are enlightened. Outside world, this refers to knowledge, truth, reality, philosophy. The lake might refer to higher reality. The reflection might refer to higher reality but not highest, be careful. Trees, higher reality. Objects in nature, higher reality. So we have objects representing concepts. And through this whole allegory, he concludes that what we see with our senses is not true, and what we apprehend with our mind or with our intellect or with our imagination or with reasoning is true. Okay. So he discusses the question of how much human beings can know about what reality is, and how much they cannot know, and why they cannot know. They cannot know, it depends on senses. Then another concept he talks about is the idea of philosopher king. The idea of philosopher king, right? Who is a philosopher? A philosopher is one who believes that this material world is false. Philosopher is one who believes that this material world is false. Now what will happen if you believe that this material world is false, you will have no desire for material possession. You will not have desire for cars and money, and if you don't have desire for material possessions, what will happen? You will not be greedy, you will not be corrupt, you won't misuse power to gain these things. Now if you are honest and if you don't run after money, if you don't run after material prosperity, then if you become ruler, you will be an honest ruler. And if you are an honest ruler, you will not misuse your power. You will not misuse state sources for personal benefit. Today you read our president in paper, you read, they take 20 lakh rupees, 30 lakh rupees, 40 lakh rupees every 6 months, every 1 year. And the media says that they are corrupt, they are greedy. Why? Because they believe in such wealth and prosperity. But if rulers believe that money is nothing, gold is nothing, silver is nothing, if they believe that this world is not real, they will not run after money, they won't be corrupt. And if they are not corrupt, they will be good. They will be good rulers. They will be just rulers. And if the rulers are good and just, our society will be an ideal society. And Plato wanted to create a perfect society. And he made this plan in his book. Okay, this is what we read in the previous chapter. So, let's move to second chapter now. If you remember, at one point while discussing concepts in previous chapter, I talked about the ideas of thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. I talked about that, right? Thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. Let's understand this in second chapter because it is said that all the philosophers before Karl Marx, tried to understand the world, but Karl Marx tried to change the world. Other philosophers did not try to change the world. They took the world as it is and they tried to understand reality. Plato tried to understand what is reality. Karl Marx tried to change the reality. And there are other philosophies which developed from Marx's ideas. For example, feminism is a philosophy because it says that women are discriminated in our society, men are privileged, so women need to get united and women should fight to bring equality for them. This is an idea. And this idea is derived from Marxism. Okay? Many other ideas derived from Marxism. So Marx said that let's say now let's this question. Okay, our topic or issue was truth. Right? In philosophy, one question that we ask is what is truth? मैले यो जस्ट बिचमा बोलेँ नेपालीमा बोलेँ यो अहिले चाहिँ हिजोबाट मैले 10 मिनटको चाहिँ फिलोसफी के हो भन्ने भिडियो बनाइरहेको छु 10 मिनटको कुनै 10 को छ कुनै 5 को छ सकेसम्म मैले चाहिँ 10 मिनटमा बनाउन खोजिरहेको छैन अनि त्यो भिडियो चाहिँ मैले 5th सेमेस्टरको सेक्सन ए र बी मा मैले पोस्ट गरिरहेको छु युट्युबमा छ तपाईले कहिले यसो चिया खाँदा हेर्दा कफी खाँदा घरमा बसिरहँदाखेरि के रहेछ पढाउनु त थाहा पाउनु भन्न मन लाग्यो भने तपाईसँग डाटा छ घरमा वाइफाई छ भने चिया खाइरहँदाखेरि मेरो 10 मिनटको भिडियो हेर्नुभयो भने तपाईलाई फिलोसफी के हो राम्ररी थाहा हुन्छ त्यहाँ चाहिँ मैले विस्तारै बताउँदै छु आई एम introducing philosophy त्यो सिरिज आउँछ सम्झाएर so one question that philosophy asks is what is truth so let's think the question and now we had Plato he answered this question for us. He answered. Plato said that truth is an idea. Truth is an idea. And when he said truth is an idea, he implied that truth is not material. Truth is not material. In other words, for Plato, truth is consciousness. For Plato, truth is consciousness. For Plato, truth is not matter. But do you see, Plato cannot explain consciousness without matter. Throughout the allegory, he talks about all matter. Do you see? He talks about matter to make us understand the consciousness of the idea. So, idea is a thesis. Matter or material is the antithesis. Thesis, antithesis. The thesis and antithesis are like the plus and minus in a battery. They never come together. They are playing poles. And when you bring together, energy is created, right? Battery battery plus minus जोड़ा चलाने नहीं. Battery में pole हुन्छ. Plus and minus. Positive charge, negative charge. तो दुवैले जोडेपछि बल्ल energy create हुन्छ. When the plus and the minus, the plus is thesis, minus is antithesis, and when they come together, that is synthesis. As a result of this synthesis, what is born? New thesis is born. And I will show this idea in the second chapter, Karl Marx's chapter, the Communist Manifesto. My habit is I write and I rub and then move on to second, right? Okay. I wish I could hire a real camera person with skills and with a better camera, and he could make a better pictures and he can look at home and use that, right? I don't know, some people criticize me for this thing. Many people criticize me, but I see a meaning in it. Okay. So you have thesis, antithesis, synthesis, right? Now let's apply this here. Now let's come to Marx and pose the same question to Marx. What is truth? Now Marx will say that truth is material. Truth is material. And what is not truth? For Marx, let's say, spirit is not truth. Spirit is not truth. For Plato, spirit is truth. So do you see, Plato and Marx both are philosophers, but they stand at opposite poles. Marx is antithetical to Plato, and Plato is antithetical to Marx. But we need to understand that truth is neither Plato nor Marx. Truth is in between. Truth is in between, and I will show you. Okay. Now, let's move to the essay by Karl Marx. If you have the book, someone, can I ask you to refer to the book? Let me document the fact So we have a fact in class today, and the fact is that we don't have books, and I want to document the fact.
So we are books.
I'm just documenting the desk. I'm not documenting you. So we don't have books. Surprisingly, almost no one has books. Oh God. Oh God. Do you have a book? No. Here also we don't see a book. Here also we don't see a book. No book. No book. This is surprising. How do we have at least one book in the whole class? Oh, we don't find a book. We don't find a book. We don't find a book. We don't find a book here too. Here also we don't find a book. Oh God. Surprising. Wait a minute. I'll explain you something. Do you see? Let me give an example. Right now you saw the example of thesis and antithesis. The teacher is thesis and students are antithesis. The teacher wants you to bring books and you do not bring. See the two ideas, opposing ideas. Do you see? Thesis and antithesis. I don't know how I can help you. We have a book, right? Okay, Tejas has got a book. You make fun of it? No? Okay. So, let's calm down. Let's calm down. Okay. Let me read the opening paragraph from the treatise The Communist Manifesto. A manifesto is public declaration of one's ideas, plans or intentions. A manifesto is public declaration of what you want to do, your principles, guiding principles. In Nepali we have the word Ghosana Patra. Have you heard? Have you heard the Ghosana Patra? Rashtriya Prajatantra Party ko Ghosana Patra. Nepali Congress ko Ghosana Patra. AMALE ko Ghosana Patra. Mahavadi ko Ghosana Patra. Have you heard? During elections? In a sense, Ghosana Manifesto is a declaration of what you want to do. Your plan, principles, guiding ideas. Communism is an idea which is derived from the word commune. Commune is living in a society, living together. If you live in a commune, you work together, you cook together, you eat together, you clean your pots together, you share the labor. And if you live in a commune, you don't have any private property. Whatever possessions you have, it belongs to every member. Whatever possessions you have, your possessions belong to every member of the society. Okay, let's not go into that. You can do a Bing search at home. You can just go to Microsoft Edge Bing search and you just type explain what is a manifesto in one paragraph. And Bing gives you a bit better definition. Then ask Bing to explain you what is communism in one paragraph. Okay, I won't go into that here in class. What I want to talk about is, let me write the first sentence here. Let me write. the history of all hitherto existing society is the history of class struggle. And I want to tell you also how to read. So this is a single sentence paragraph. This is a single sentence paragraph. And often a paragraph has two things. If you are reading a paragraph, you may have an idea in the paragraph and you may have details. Now, if you have a single sentence paragraph, most probably it has only idea and no details. So Karl Marx opens his treatise with a single sentence paragraph which expresses an important idea. So the topic on which Marx is going to speak or write is, the topic is history of the society. What is the topic? What is the topic? History of the society. Karl Marx is surveying the development of our society throughout ages. Karl Marx is surveying the development of human society through history. He is not talking about animal society. What society is talking about? What society? Human society. And he says something about it. What does he say? The history of society is history of class struggle. So you will see, this is the topic of the paragraph. What is the topic of the paragraph? History of society. This is the topic. And this is the controlling idea. What is this? Controlling idea. A controlling idea is the view on the topic. What did I say? A controlling idea is the view on the topic. Viewpoint. There is a topic and the writer is saying something on the topic. Okay. Our students' topic. Our students' topic are very careless view. Because they come to English class without their textbook evidence. Because they come to class without the text, there is evidence or reason. That is full sentence. Topic, our students.
Few are very careless. Reason? Because they come to class without textbook. For example, now here we have a single sentence paragraph. First paragraph. Why is Karl Marx using a single sentence paragraph? To create a weight of his idea. Weight of his idea. When your idea is too important, then you state it in a single paragraph without detail. You give detail in other paragraphs. Because you want to show that the idea is very serious. The idea is very serious, significant. Okay. So what is the topic? What is the topic? What is the topic? History of society. What is the controlling idea? What is the controlling idea? Is history of class struggle. So, if you want to understand society, you should understand class struggle. I repeat, Karl Marx says, if you want to understand society, what should you study? You should study class struggle. Now, let's take a word here. Class and struggle. Now, the key word in the opening sentence is, what is the key word? Class struggle. मलाई एउटा रमाइलो लागेको कुरा कि म तपाईलाई यसै बुझाइरहेको छु नि हैन, एउटा सेन्टेन्समाथि कति बेर बोलिरहेको छु नि। अहिले मैले के देखिरहेको छु, मैले यसपालि त तपाईको फेस फोकस क्याप्चर गर्दिन भने, मैले क्यामेराले फेस खिच्दिन भने तपाईको प्राइभेसी ब्रिच हुन्छ भनेर ओभरअल फेस पनि खिचेको थिएँ, राइट? मैले के बुझिरहेको छु भने, म यसै बुझाइरहेको छु नि, धेरै विद्यार्थी मैले देखिरहेको छु जुन क्यामेरामा आइरहेको छैन, मैले भनेको कुरामा ध्यानै छैन, ध्यान छैन। म देखिरहेको छु यहाँ ऊ आफ्नै कुरा बिजी छ। यो हुनसक्छ म टिचर सेन्टर्ड भएर यस्तो भयो, तिमीलाई काम गरेको जस्तो हुन्थेन, तर मैले बुझ्न खोजिरहेको छु कि मैले नबुझेको कुरा, क्लासमा टिचरले कुनै कुरालाई सिरियसली बुझाउन खोज्दाखेरि धेरै विद्यार्थीले त्यो सुन्दैन, ध्यान दिँदैन, अटेन्सन दिँदैन। किन यस्तो हुन्छ? केले चाहिँ विद्यार्थीको अटेन्सन दिने क्षमता चाहिँ डिस्ट्रोय भइरहेछ? I don't understand, and I want to understand it. As I'm explaining you this concept, I find that many students in the class, they are busy talking between themselves, among themselves, and they have no interest on what I'm saying. It may be because this topic is serious, it may be because the teacher is serious, it may be because you're not happy with the teacher, it may be because you are angry with me, it may be because I'm lecturing. I don't know, but I want to know. Okay, leave that. History of society is what? History of class struggle. Now let's focus on the two words. What are the two words we picked up? What are the two words? Class and struggle. Now what is a class? Look, this is a class. BBA section B is a class, right? Is a class. Now what do you say? My class is BBA. What do you mean? You mean that you belong to B group. You belong to B group. And if you check your attendance sheet, you'll be surprised. For example, in B group, the first student's surname is Mananda. Because the administration groups you on the basis of your last name, surnames. Anybody having a surname with L falls in section A. Because section B begins with M. Manandar, Mukhia, Pasakhala, Pokharel, Rai. So we have MNOPQRST. Hello. So section A has A to L. Section B has M to J. So do you see B is different than A, but B also has some similarity. There are students, the difference is the room is different, A and B, routine is different, teachers may be different, maybe may not be, possibly, maybe may not be. Subjects may be different, optional subjects. One may be math group, biology group, for example. So do you see, a class is different from other class. Do you get my point? A class is different from other class. Now, what we need to understand is that our society also has class. For example, look, Divakar sir is a teacher, right? Divakar sir is a teacher. We have businessmen, don't we? Right? We have cleaners, right? We have security personnel, right? We have doctors, right? We have laborers, right? And you can go on. So do you realize our society consists of different classes? Do you get my point? Now, let's focus second word, struggle. Struggle. What do you mean by struggling? Literally, when you struggle at something, you make effort. You make effort. You may succeed, you may fail. So struggle involves effort, physical effort, right? Struggle, okay. What other things may the word struggle involve? For example, there may be pull and push, right? Right? There may be use of power, right? Use of power or force. Power or force. There may be conflict. There may be conflict. There may be fight. Do you remember how Kathmandu municipality tried to remove the makeshift huts from Bagmati river bank 6 months before? And how when the municipality policemen went to remove the huts, the people began to fight and throw stones at the police force. And 3 days before, Supreme Court issued an order that municipality should not remove them right now. And now Kathmandu municipality is helpless. So do you see the struggle between municipality and Sukumbasi? Have you heard this thing? There is always a struggle between municipality and Sukumbasi. The English word for the Sukumbasi is in English, the Sukumbasis are proletarians. What do we call them? proletarian. Proletarian is one who has no private property. Though some of them in interviews said they have car and their children are in America, Australia, Germany. Some of them said their children are doctors. But theoretically, a proletarian, a true proletarian is one who has no private property. And have you heard? Many people argue that Mr. Balen Shah represents the rich class. Balen represents the rich class, the capitalist class. So against the proletarian, you have the bourgeois. Let me check the spelling. B-O-U-R-G-E-O-I. So, I'm about to leave. I'll leave now. Just a minute. Give me a minute. So he said, society is all about class struggle. And now we have the two classes. The first class is the bourgeois class. Second class is the proletarian class. The bourgeois has property. The bourgeois has property. The proletarian has no property. So, the bourgeois is the haves group and the proletarian is the have-not group. They are just opposite. Now look, the bourgeois is thesis. The proletarian is antithesis. And whenever there is thesis and antithesis, there is always fight. There is always fight. Now this fight has two results. This fight has two results. Pay attention. Result I'm about to leave. Reconstruction of society. Reconstruction of society or destruction of society. The result of this fight is either they are destroyed or society is restructured. If society is restructured, we have a new thesis. We have a new thesis. Now this new thesis will bring new antithesis. New thesis will bring new antithesis. I hope you can manage books by this afternoon, or you can Google and find the text. And tomorrow when you come to class, you come with the text. Come with the text. Otherwise, I'll film your faces and tell on camera. That's fine. Yeah.